The teaching cycle is the ongoing process that us as teachers and trainers should be following to sort of maintain our professional development and ensure we're sort of meeting all of our individuals' needs. So I'd just like to go through each of the stages now and sort of clarify and point out what we should be doing at each stage. So stage one, identifying and meeting our learners' needs. So the big part of this is thorough initial assessments. Now, initial assessments is finding out as much about your learners, your students as you can before they actually end up in the classroom or on your course. So this could be application forms, this could be interviews, this could be phone conversations, and the more you know about them, the more likely you are to be able to help them and find out if they've got any special sort of learning requirements to support them along the pathway. We've also mentioned individual learning plans here. Now, you may or may not have heard of these, but these are one-on-one reviews that you'll do with your students throughout the time that they're with you. So these are likely to start right at the beginning, almost at the application process, and then as they go through the qualification with you, if you're meeting up with them regularly one-on-one, the idea being that you can actually ask them how they're doing. They've got a voice, they can let you know how they're finding it, and you can get some really good feedback and hopefully guide them through the qualifications. Stage two moves on to the actual planning and designing of your course. Now, this is clearly your lesson plans, your schemes of work. You know about lesson plans. You have to do one of those for your actual micro teach. So these outline what your aim, your objectives are for your actual lessons. It makes you look at your timings. It makes you get as prepared as possible when we're talking about presentations, worksheets, any activities that you're actually doing. And the more organised you are, the better your teaching will actually be in the classroom. We've also mentioned the actual classroom itself, okay, or this not necessarily a classroom, could be a workshop, a studio, a gym, wherever it is you're actually teaching them, but you need to consider the environment as part of the planning. You're not necessarily always going to teach in the same environment, so you look at your subject, what you're going to be teaching them, and you think about what a suitable environment might be for that particular topic. Once you're all done and you're prepared and you think you're ready to teach, that obviously brings us on to stage three, okay, which is the actual delivery of your qualification. Now, it's quite common when people are a little bit nervous to speak at a million miles per hour. So first point I've put on there is sort of pace and pitch. So try to slow down if you can. This is quite common within the micro teach, so just sort of take it easy, take a deep breath, and it's always good to start like at the beginning with your title, your aim, your objectives, just to ease you in actually to it. I've also mentioned classroom dynamics on there. Now this comes once you get to know your students. This might be personalities within the group, those that get on, don't get on, maybe some are motivated, some less motivated, some a bit disruptive. So as you get to know your students, you'll actually use your own people skills, communication skills to actually manage this and manage the learning environment. Time management. Turning up on time, obviously pretty important, but we're talking more about the actual time you spend on each activity within and during the lesson. So it's quite difficult. It's one of the more difficult things when you first start teaching. If you've got an hour and a half lesson, how do you know what an hour and a half sort of work is within that lesson? So this comes with actual careful planning, thinking how long you're going to spend on each activity with your plans, and then actually look when you're delivering, having an awareness of the time and making sure you stick to it roughly. Obviously, you don't need to be bang on, but just so you have an idea and you make sure you don't overrun within your lesson, or actually, that sometimes could be the case, teach too quickly. The last bit I'll put on there is actually your resources. So you need to actually, this might be PowerPoint presentations, this could be things that you're actually going to hand out, video clips, but we already said you're going to be organised and prepared for these, and you need to make sure you've actually got them on you and they're all working on the day. So this could be a simple thing as actually turning up early and making sure all the projector, the computer is actually working beforehand. So you've delivered that stage three, and the final stage, which you're going to come on to, is actually the evaluation stage. So I've put on here, as you can see, your teaching methods, the admin, getting people on it and through the qualification, the assessment, did you meet your objectives, did you meet your learning needs? So you're ultimately looking for feedback on all of these areas. Okay, and this feedback will come from your learners, could be course evaluation forms, it could be peers that have been in with you and seen you teaching and give you some feedback, it could be line managers, or it could be, I guess worst case scenario for some people, Ofsted coming in and giving you sort of observations from actually watching your lessons. And you've also got yourself, you know how the course went, how the lesson went. So you gather all this information. You think about how it went. Did you sort of meet the course objectives? Do you feel you met your learners' needs? You think about that, you put it all together, and then you're back where you started ultimately, and you're quite likely to be teaching that lesson again, that course again, and you're constantly looking to improve your teaching style and your skills. Regardless of whether you've been teaching for 3 weeks or 30 years, you're always going to be following this basic teaching cycle, evaluating as you go, and always looking to improve your practice.